Alright, here we go again. This time with what's probably the good matchup for Serene. Or at least I think so. Mostly because not generating fear can be kind of an upside against this adversary. Oh, Russia 6. It's Russia 6. I hadn't mentioned that yet. Maybe you could already guess. Alright, so let's get started and explore into wetlands. So, there's an option here for Boon of Corrupted Blood on land 4 already, but maybe we draft a card first. But those are some cards. Call to Trade seems good. Pull Beneath is okay. It's probably going to be Call to Trade. Worst case, it's still 1 or 2 downgrades, right? And I also can use it to print particularly annoying Ravage. And it has better elements. Yeah, I have my cards to the side here because of the TTS bug that makes it lag when they are in my hand. Alright, but it's not a card I'm going to play this turn. So, play options. I would like to not lose these to the Han. Can't really do much about it. I mean, I could play Quarter Trade next turn if I wanted to. I probably don't. I think there's only 2 options here for plays. One of them is Wreck with Pain and Grief. Hope that this comes up and then push it all out into, I don't know, land 1 or land 5. But that seems kind of not good enough, seeing that 4 builds. Could also... Now there's only like one real option, and that is Boon of Corrupted Blood. And move this presence. Move it out of the land that we cannot easily solve. Land 8, I probably have to save one of the Dahan instead of printing a build next turn. Seems sad. I guess it's just what we will have to do. Yeah, so the matchup is not great before turn 3. And even like with turn 3 it only starts being good, so it'll take a while until it feels good. Ping the Explorer into, say, land 3 for 1 fear. Maybe into land 7? Probably not. I would like to be in land 7 long term. I would like to see Blight Heal and Defend cards. Oh well, and a pony, while I'm at it. Event, Influx of Settler, we ignore it. We build in land 8. We do not build in land 4 because it's empty. We explore mountain. Okay, I think that is probably a good explore for us. And then we're in slow. Now, I would like to ping the explorer, but I fear I have to save the hand here, probably. I mean, I have played with for the Han a bunch of times. But I would also lose the beast. I guess I'm losing the beast whatever happens, right? Is it better to focus on land 5? Yes. Except that losing to the Han really hurts. It will take until turn 5 until I start producing the Han again, and there are some bad events that happen if you're on 4 and less the Han. I could solve this by playing Wreck with Pain and Grief next turn, but I probably will not. I could still draft a Defend. This is probably not easily defendable with 6 damage. This is probably defendable with 4 damage. So I guess we're doing that. One fear for pushing the Explorer and another fear for the Sanguinary Taint baseline. And then here we are. I could add it here. I'm not sure. Time passes. Oh, am I still lagging? Ah, it's flew through the hand into the discard. Discard does not lag. Man, I'm sure that at least 2 games now I've mentioned how great of a card Rain of Blood is in the matchup. And now I try it in the one matchup where I don't want to produce a ton of fear. And it's still the better card here, I feel. I mean, maybe Lure of the Unknown, but I might just play it. Oh, I no longer lag when I have cards in my hand. Perfect. Then I can do that again. I might just play it for the elements, honestly, if I don't want to add 3 fear. Okay, it's also not a power that does anything right now. So, this is going to Ravage, kill a Dahan, kill a beast. This land. I could wreck with Pen and Grieve it, since I've just drawn Rain of Blood. I'm going to be able to hit some innate later anyway. It's kind of sad to use Wreck with Pen and Grieve before you get its main effect though. Could also Bloodwater and Bloodlust, but then I'll probably take more Blight than I have to. So the thing with Russia is that you are going to take a bunch of Blight early on. Just to turn off the level 6, which is adding that town and that explorer can really be rough. But you don't want to take infinite Blight. At some point you have to stabilize, right? You have to stop taking Blight. So maybe taking 1 Blight here that I don't need to take is a bad idea. And the only way I can prevent it, I guess I could prevent it with Call to Try turn 3, huh? Maybe that is a good idea. Play Call to Try turn 3. And then this turn I play Watch. Bloodwater and Bloodshed. Bloodwater and Bloodlust? Whatever, same difference. It's kind of awkward, but I think it's fine. Sure, let's try that. I can go Water here, which generally speaking better against Russia since it's less fear. And do nothing in quick. Let's flip the event, the first real event. Search for unclaimed land. Explore in a land with a few total invaders. Hate to see that against Russia. Extra explorers are always painful. Let's read the rest first. We don't add a disease, since we just downgraded that from 2 to 3 explorers. But at least we get to save with a Han, right? So in the end it's 1 explorer and save with a Han. I guess that's net negative, but only slightly so. Maybe here. Maybe here. I guess let's take land 1. And then the rest is... I've already pushed it to Han, and Blake's and Populous Lands does not trigger. Actually, I cannot explore into here, because it has a Dahan. Can only explore into land 4 or 6, which I guess it means it has to be 6, and then we push that Dahan, and this is where we are. Okay, we Ravage. We kill that beast. and Blight, which also means that we don't get hit by Russia 6. Then the next thing that they do is they don't build in land 2, but they do build in land 5. And then they explore into jungle. Alright. And then we play Bloodwater and Bloodlust. This is still struggle town here. It gets better, but it takes a while. Things I could do. I could push these two explorers into land 4. I want to set up my disease so that is useful and my beast so that is useful. I also use the beast for the escalation that we'll probably get next turn. So ideally I would like to place the beast in a land that can tag 1 or 2 explorers. I could use it in here. The issue is that the beast would be destroyed again, but I would like... Would it though? Jan says, yeah, I'm not saving that land. Right. I am saving that land. Yeah, so maybe we do that. Let's try to save that land. Save that too, is that good? Do we take only 2 blight and stop there, or do we take the 3rd? So basically, next turn I'm not gonna take any, I'm gonna take 1 blight, right? And then if the turn after I also take no blight, that means that I stabilize on 2 blight taken, and I'll take Russia 6 for the remainder of the game. Maybe I'm strong enough for that? Let me try to do that. Means trying to solve these two. Bloodwater and Bloodlust. Yeah, the issue with adding the beast is that I need to add 2 in the escalation here. That is really hard for... Ah, right, but my solution was to add stuff here and then push it out, huh? Alright, we push these into here and here. That's how we're doing it, I think. Actually, 3 are... Now this is dangerous. Comes up in coastline and maybe here. I'm kind of worried about that land. It's a sacred site, which means I cannot evacuate that quickly, and it has blight. I guess I'll have to, huh? Sure. Okay, let's draft a good miner. Blight here. Not a single water card. I feel like I've been getting unlucky in my Serene playthroughs more than in the Roiling playthroughs. It's not that unlikely to see no water in one of the first 3 drafts, but I think on average you are expected to see it. You see no water in 1 of 4 drafts or something. And it's still pretty likely that you see water in all drafts. Anyway, there are some good cards in here. I don't want Promises of Protection, probably. If I used it here, then I could... I mean, I'm not gonna use it this turn, right? Whatever I'm drafting it the turn after, and it's got to be Counter Isolation. It's the best card here. Alright, I wanted to use Counter Trade. And the reason for that is that I could have solved land 5 last turn using Wreck with Pain and Grief. But then I would have used Wreck with Pain and Grief and not got any downgrades. And rather in turn 2 slow, I'm now solving it in turn 3 quick, and in turn 3 quick I do have Serene. So I do get to profit from all of my downgrades. And the card that I played last turn, Bloodwater and Bloodlust, did not actually lose any value for not having Serene yet, because it doesn't actually benefit from Serene. Move that into here perhaps. I will probably need to downgrade here soon because of the escalation. So that is solving land 5. And then I have one more card left to play. Could also forget Boon of Corrupted Blood, but I'll probably do that later if at all. I need to play Wreck with Pen and Grief or Rain of Blood here. I think I would like to play Wreck with Pen and Grief here. It's kind of deciding if I want my turn 3 or my turn 4 to be stronger, but I think my turn 3 is more in need of strong card plays because it has less innates than turn 4. Alright. I'm going to decide what my element is in slow. Let's start with quick. Call to trade, insure land 5. Push that into here, downgrade that explorer. Pull that into here, downgrade that town. And then they will ravage instead of build instead of ravaging. I could have also, if I wanted to, then maybe that is better. Downgraded the town instead of the explorer earlier. And then they'll build on this, which more explorers but less buildings helps with the pocketing maybe. Although there's only one land. Well, this land is now pocketed, right? Is it also going to be pocketed after build? Yes. So, oh no, because it's not, because there's gonna be a building here, right? But at least there will be no city, and I like having no cities. Is that correct though? No, I think I'd rather do it the other way around. I think that was the state of the land otherwise. It had 2 explorers. I pulled the Dahan into there, downgrading 1 explorer. Then I pulled the town, downgrading it. No, it had town and explorer, is what it had. Exactly. And then I pulled the Dahan in, downgrading the explorer. And then I pulled the town from here. Let me... Backtracking, man. It's never good. This was the state at the start. Pull into here, downgrade, pull into here, downgrade. That is where we are. Okay, perfect. And then we'll have a city there, so be it. I'd rather maybe start pocketing up here once I can. And then I also get to move some presences. I already did that, gather some plight. Do I want to? Maybe gather that into here. Who knows? Alright. That was my quick. Sacred Site under threat. I'm happy that I did not forget Boon of Corrupted Blood. If I had forgotten it, I would still have a Sacred Site. I don't want to have Sacred Sites with this card. Alright, I get 2 fear. That is acceptable from Beast Sprawl. And then Spirit Speaker solves Riddle of Power. I do have 4 Dahan in my land, so I do get my minor card. Beautiful. And it even has water. Between those two, Sucking Ooze and Confounding Mist are both good. I'm going with Confounding Mist. I've already drafted a 0 cost that I'm going to play. There's now... I could risk prolonging my reclaim based off that. We'll see later. Sense of Dread. Remove 1 Explorer from a land matching a Ravage card. I love it. So... probably this one, right? Because it has more chances of coming up. And removing works. Then they Ravage. Which means I don't take any Russia 6. They built a city here. Yeah, annoying, I know. But well, it'll work out. And then they built in here, but it's empty. They built in land 7, but it's deceased, and then they explore into coastal. Yeah, good decision to remove that explorer. And it also means no escalation, which is, I think, maybe the best case explore here. It's definitely a good explore for me. So I could wreck with Pain and Grief. Get rid of that. Would immediately make those two lands pocketed. And I still can choose whether to use Sanguinary Taint or Swollen Spell. And it must be correct here to use Sanguinary Taint, right? It's a bit more fear. But it's only one more fear, and that's fine. So I Sanguinary Taint land 3. One fear for the power, one fear for pushing that to Han, push that into here, downgrade. And then I use Swallow Spell on land 1. Push that into here, downgrade, push that into... I don't know, good question. Maybe into land 7? Maybe into land 5 or land 7, right? Land 7, downgrade this, and then play Wreck with Pain and Grief to Fear, and then push that into here, push that into here. It's annoying because next turn we're guaranteed to take the escalation, right? And both of these lands are... Oh, actually, I wanted to solve land 7, huh? I mean, I can Confounding Mist it. Which is good. Otherwise I would have needed to backtrack here and change which cards I play on what. I have all the tools required to solve the land. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to take an energy last turn. Because I forgot to destroy these. Alright, this is the turn where we forget Boon of Corrupted Blood, surely. And we open this, we take 3 energy, perhaps? There's a couple of options here due to the extra... what is it? Card draft I got. So one line of play is to play these cards here. Draft a card. And then next turn open... Reclaim 1. I think that is good, right? That must be great, because I still have Drought with the Water's Edge. And I can reclaim 1 this card, so all my next card needs to still hit Serene on full... Sorry. Water's Renew on full strength is have water. Okay, I can draft like cost to like. Which means I could also, if I wanted here, play Drought with the Water's Edge. I just don't know what it accomplishes. So let's not. I will not take Blight, and I should choose which land I will get the extra. How is that worded exactly? After the Ravage step of turn 2+, on each board where it added no Blight in the land with the most explorers, add 1 explorer in 1 town. That means I can defend here, push 1 explorer into land 5, and then add them to land 5. Despite the fact that currently it still doesn't have the most explorers. And then I can escalate into land 7. That just looks beautiful. And yeah, we'll do that. So that is defended for 4 using Confounding Mist. Let's gather this into here maybe. No, I think there's an event that does bad things here. So do I want to fear? The answer is probably not, right? So I'm just not going to use it. I'm use it as a 0 cost with all the right elements, and that is insanely valuable in itself. And then call to isolation. That just seems like a good turn. Let's heal water and let's decide in slow. I'll probably go as well in speed level 2, but I could theoretically go Sanguinary Taint. Alright, so this land is defended. I still have counter isolation. Zero costs, man. Zero costs are good. Because the whole thing that with the delaying the reclaim and whatnot, if you draft to when you 1 cost, it doesn't work either. So I can now push either Dahan or 1 Explorer per Dahan. Which means if I wanted to, I could push land 7. Interesting. Could like push that into here right away. And then I could use Confounding Mist for something else. Maybe use it for the push as well. I think that seems even better, right? Alright. Got that reminder token. We call to isolation land 7. Pushing 2 explorers. Pushing this into here and it downgrades. Pushing this into here and it does not downgrade. Then Confounding Mist. I could either use it on land 2, immediately downgrading the town after it's being created. I could use it on land 5, immediately downgrading or pushing some of that stuff that is added in pressure for fast profit. Or I could add it to land 7 or land 6 to immediately push the stuff that gets added in. What do you say? I think I want it in land 5. Worst case scenario is that we get a Mountain Explorer, and that is exactly what this safeguards against, I think. Alright. Let's flip the event. We are still healthy. Civic Engagement. Invaders do +1 damage per land because I don't have any strife. That is irrelevant. On each board, destroy 1 town or 1 explorer in a land with beast. I guess this pushes this explorer into land 8. I kind of have no choice. I don't want it in land 7, and I don't want it in land 4. Both of that's for sure. Keep far from lands of plague. Push the hand from lands with disease to lands without disease, but I don't have any disease. Each player adds 1 strife to land with the hand. Sure. Maybe do that? Might mean that I just destroy that city instead of downgrading it, which would be nice. There's no blight taken, so I add the Russia 6 town and explorer to land 5. But because I've played Confounding Mists, it can be pushed. And I'll push the town to here and the explorer as well, and the explorer gets downgraded. And then they build in coastal, which only builds here. And then I explore mountain wetlands. This wetland recurrently has an explorer but does not get explored. This gets explored but pushed out, and this gets explored. So I believe that max once per power means that the second push of Confounding Mists in land 5 does not downgrade. But I'll just push into land 7, I guess. Also, I forgot, but we're playing Russia. So there's actually no... I was playing around the escalation, but the escalation doesn't happen because Russia does this. Well, you see what it does. So, this end is annoying, and this is annoying too. I probably also have to solve land 2. Drought with the water sets can pull towns, but I don't have money. Like Coastal Like doesn't do much. And I'll have to reclaim a card that has water and animal. Wreck with Pain and Grief, Bloodwater and Bloodlust, or Rain of Blood. None of which do anything in quick. So basically the only but next turn I will have Alright, so next turn quick will be Waters Renew and draw to the water's edge. Okay. So, would the Waters Renew in of itself solve land 2? I pull in a Dahan, downgrading an Explorer. I'll replace a town with an Explorer. Sorry, with a Dahan. So the land does 4 damage against defend 3. There's some events that do bad things, but I think it's an acceptable risk. And in terms of damage, I have 6 damage against 6 health, which should clear out the land exactly. Well, the Explorer gets pushed, but you know the rest. So this land is solved and doesn't need any actions in the slow. So I can concentrate all of my actions on land 5, 8, and 4. I think land 5 looks like a prime target for getting Waters Renewed next turn. Oh wait, that is too quick. So I don't need to deal with land 5 either. I just need to deal with land 4 and land 8. In which case it doesn't really matter that much which of these two I take. Sanguinary Taint and Silent Spill don't really do much. I guess maybe I'll use Swell Spill into land 8, downgrade this Explorer, and then use Sanguinary Taint in here to kill one Explorer and push one, maybe? I wish there were Dahan in that land, huh? Really does not matter much. Let's just do anything then. Alright, I have Sanguinary Taint here. This, and this gets downgraded. No, wait. That's not how that works. Give me a second. That pushed the Explorer would not get downgraded, so I guess what we're doing is go here, we use Swell and Spill on here, pull that into here and it dies, and then we use Sanguinary Taint level 2 on that. I've already added the Fear. Kills an Explorer, it pushes an Explorer into land, I don't know, 7 maybe. And yeah. That is how we kill 2 Explorers, using Sanguinary Taint level 2 and Swell and Spill level 1. Okay. Time passes, and I dropped Mountain. Okay. We take Wreck with Pain and Grief. I need to play a card that has water. I guess we do. We might not use it. We probably will use it. I'm worrying whether or not I'm creating too much fear, but it will be fine. So we add 2 presences this turn. I would like a Sacred Site, because at some point in the game I actually want to create fear, but only after the second Russia bomb probably. So I can probably do this and this at this point, right? And then do the second Sacred Site later for Rain of Blood. Alright. Then I will get extra Explorers into these lands, perhaps, maybe into land 6 or 7. Draw to the water's edge. Maybe we start with Waters Renew. Push that into here, downgrade that. We replace the town with a Dahan, we add a beast, we defend 3. Oh, that is Waters Renew. I also would like to gather this into land 5, let's say. And then draw to the water's edge. It's probably good to draw this into land 4 so that they don't build a city here, because they're building twice. And I would hate to build Oh, also I have to think about where I'll have the escalation. Probably in land 5 also, or land 4. But I think this is fine. We build a town here, and then we can call like castle like on land 5 or something. I think it'll be good. Ideally, I just have blight heal, right? Take one blight here every turn. Like stack that land with everything. Take one blight every turn, heal it every turn. Take one blight, heal it. And with a reclaim one on your tracks, that is the real option, but yeah, I think this is where we are. Alright, let's flip the event. Distant exploration. I just pocketed. Oh well. Crimtol, I don't have any disease. Fierce Mean, or whatever that, however that is pronounced. 1 fear per land with invaders where Dahan outnumber buildings. Land 2 is 1, land 7 is 1, land 6 is 1, 3 fear. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the fear, but it's probably okay. Dahan and Heartened. I can either push Dahan from a land with invaders or gather Dahan into land with invaders. I would love to add Dahan in here. Alright, then Coastal Re-Ravage. Nothing dies. So... well... I guess the Explorer lives, huh? They die. And then I push this into, say... land 5? This is gonna be my stack land. So... 1 extra fear for pushing that Explorer. Yeah, I'm getting pretty close to that card already, but I think I'm going to have 1 turn in between. So coast is cleared. I only have 1 city on the board. Funny. Then they build. They don't build in land 2. They don't build in land 8. They build in land 4. They build a town. They build 2 towns in land 5. Also, they will... Wait. Something I forgot. I did not take any blight in the ravage step. So, before any buildings, land 5 gets the Russia 6. Exactly. Then they build. They build this here. They built the town, but now, because of that Russia 6, and because I didn't take any blight, they build a second city. That is how it goes. And they also escalate, which I get to choose where and how and what. Land 6 and maybe land 4. Choose lands that are already acting, right? So that, I mean, I'm already going to use powers onto land 4, right? So I can just place it in here and don't have a new, entirely new land which now requires actions, is my thinking. Talking about escalation. Well, at least the extra range doesn't matter. And I placed 2 more explorers for my... What is it? Maybe I just let land 5 go for a turn? But it will ravage twice. Yeah. Not sure. Oh, I also cannot have any... Yeah, that is kind of an issue. It would match both of my ravage cards and it would ravage twice. So I kind of need to make sure that no land has 3 or more explorers in the end. Except land 5 perhaps, but... here maybe? I'm not sure. Seems bad no matter where I use it on, but I still have a bunch of powers. So maybe that is the option. I could push out of here. I think I will do that. Using Swirl and Spell, not downgrade the town, and then pull that down with like house select into here. Mostly downgrading explorers in the process, right? Yeah. So let's start with Swell and Spell. We're terror level 2 now, which means in theory we could win if we remove all the buildings. Let me think about this for a second. Say I push this town into land 6 and the Dahan into land 5. This is 2 downgrades, right? Downgrade the town, both 2 towns. Then this has 1 town and 2 cities. I could use Wreck with Pain and Grief to push that town into land whatever and downgrade it. And then next turning quick I could use Waters Renew, replace the city, downgrade that into a town and play... Okay, let me double check because I think I see victory here. I think the game is just won. With the Terror level 2 card. Maybe I start with like cost to like. Pull that into here, downgrade it into an Explorer. Pull that into here, downgrade that city into a town. Actually, is that ideal? Who knows? Then use Wreck with Pain and Grief. Push that into here. And push, I guess, that into here. Who knows? Who cares? And then use Swell and Spill. Push that into here. And I guess the Dahan into wherever. End the turn. Reclaim. Gain. Play Draw to the Water's Edge. Play Wreck with Pain and Grief. Play, I don't know, Confounding Mists. Gain, pay, flip. Set that to water. Gather this into land 5. Downgrading the town. Add a beast, defend 3, and replace that city with a Dahan. Win the game, right? Yeah, good game. The board looks pretty unmanageable at this point, with 500,000 explorers. But I think there's also, if you don't win here because you don't have the fear for terror level 2, then you could also play to minimize explorers instead of minimizing buildings. And I think the board state would be much better in that case. So I think even with less fear you can play on. And really I think fear hit the perfect sweet spot for us here. You don't want to create too much fear because getting too many of the Russia cards back to back is just can ruin a good game, make it utterly unsalvageable. So you want a little bit of a break between those 2 cards, which is why it's good to play slow on fear, and only after you hit the second Russia bomb, this card, you just go all in on fear. But the fear that we got, and we got a bit more than was expected, ended up actually being okay for us. It was not enough to push us into dropping this right away, but it was enough to unlock the Terror level 2 victory. Yeah, that was pretty clean. And I think it goes to show why the water build is good against Russia. The Roiling build is pushing a lot more fear than this. Like with the same events on the same board and everything, the Roiling build has dropped this card for sure at this point in the game. And it has more fear cards and everything. But yeah. Serene just slow plays the fear and then it wins by removing all buildings and pocketing maybe eventually If the game goes longer, we pocket and then we get less explorers on the board from explorers. So that's also a way. And downgrading the explorers, which is a good way to get rid of them. Yeah, good game.